For spring training weekend in March, not that significant, let's be honest. Like, we're looking forward to opening day. Astros ready to reign, looking for back-to-back titles. I'm not sure that things could have gone better than this weekend, though, for the Houston Astros. The demise of Hunter Brown, greatly exaggerated.
Yes.
Went 3 no-hit innings yesterday. Looked good doing it. Struck out, I think, 3. I think he had 3 punchies in the process as well. Lance McCullers Jr. is throwing a baseball, which is always big news and news you don't see all the time because most of the time Lance McCullers Jr. is not throwing a baseball.
See you in August.
Why? You tell me. Yordan Alvarez is starting to swing a bat, and Dusty Baker saying that it's still the plan that he is with the Astros on opening day. Michael Brantley came back today. Corey Lee's hitting a home run. He's playing first base today a little bit as well, so maybe some position flexibility in the life of Corey Lee. If we want to get hot take overreaction for Houston Astros spring training action, this weekend is one to
Luis
celebrate.
Garcia pitched well.
Yeah, he pitched well in the WBC. He's looking really good.
He looked really good, had 3 punchies. Today, Christian Javier, if you want to do the extended weekend, pitched really well
He's
in
wearing
the WBC.
some bling, too. Did you see that?
He's wearing what?
He's wearing some bling.
No, I didn't see that.
He's wearing a
But
little bit
he can
of
wear
bling.
whatever he wants if he keeps mowing guys down like that. Look, again, much to do about nothing early on except for McCullers and Yordan. Those are still the big
huge
concerns. But everything else falling into place to where if a Garcia, a guy that we haven't really talked about at the top of the rotation because we've been rightfully talking about the 2 guys that are going to have places there already being Christian Javier and Framber Valdez, and now you throw a Garcia in the mix. Now it's less of a top priority on McCullers, but just a when. And just as long as when he comes back, he's good, you're still in a really good position. And again, Hunter Brown, we said he was working on some things. We'll wait till later in the spring to really, before we start getting any kind of concern with him. Now that he's doing what he's supposed to do, I know some people really like, how can you can't say that when Forrest Whitley was sent down again, and he was rightfully sent down. And it's one thing if Forrest Whitley's working on things.
That was always going to be
best.
That was always going to be the case,
of course,
though.
But after that, again, because of how social media works.
Yeah.
Once they saw that video, Forrest Whitley's ready, man. Don't worry about Lance. He's going to be your 6th starter. He's going to be fantastic. No, he's going to be sent down to minor league camp, and you may never see him again. So we'll see what happens with Forrest Whitley, but him working on things as opposed to Hunter Brown working on things, 2 different scenarios.
Sure.
I think it was a very, very good weekend for the Astros across the board.
Great weekend for the Astros. Could Corey Lee actually be a thing? Like, is there a chance that Corey Lee, I'm not going to say he's going to be the Jeremy Pena because he's not going to get the opportunity of a Jeremy Pena,
Right.
But could we be looking at the makings of what could potentially, after the Maldonado era is over, which I think this is Martin Maldonado's final year as a Houston Astro. Once Maldi is gone, could we be looking at a decade of Corey Lee behind the backstop? I'm starting to think that he's going to be the next catcher one for the Astros, at least through his contract, through his 6 years of the club control, 5 years, I guess, after
If he's
Maldi.
a bat that you just can't keep out of the lineup because of the fact that he's a proven catcher that can hit or just an offensive commodity, then if he can play first base, if he can DH, if he can do things, there's a roster spot for him no matter what. But if he can prove to be what you need him to be as the heir apparent to Maldi, then, and I was trying to think of the upside. The upside to me is
Maldi thinks it's JT Real Muto.
Is what?
Corey Lee. That's Corey Lee's upside. Is JT Real Muto.
I think that's too high.
I think so too. I don't think it's fair.
What's the kid that was just traded from the A's to the Braves?
Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy. I think the upside on him, the ceiling is around Sean Murphy.
Cool.
Yeah,
right.
I would take
But
that in
I'm
a
saying
heartbeat.
if that's your ceiling and it's Sean Murphy, I'm great with that.
I think one other thing though with Corey Lee though that's interesting is like for so long we've been so ingrained of talking about pitch framing.
Yeah.
And how important that is. He probably isn't going to have to frame pitches as the primary catcher because we're going to have robots.
Yep.
So like yes, calling a game, preparing the game plan, all that stuff that Maldi's so clearly great at now. But, like, he's not going to have to be a pitch framer in a year.
Exactly.
It's all gone.
And they also like him defensively now where he can improve what you talked about. Like, his framing is not Maldonado. Calling a game, which I think calling a game is, quite frankly, the most underrated thing in baseball. I quite frankly think it is. Because, like...
Underrated or overrated?
Underrated.
I
think
agree
it's
with that
completely
right
underrated.
Now, currently it is, yes.
Let's make a cross-sport reference. How important is it for the defense to call plays against the offense? Incredibly important. How important is it for an offense to have a game plan of how to attack a defense? incredibly important.
Sure.
It's why we put so much
Scouting
value on the
reports and all
offensive
that,
play caller and how much value we put on the defensive play caller. What's different between a catcher calling the pitches and how to attack a dude that's trying to score runs against you? I don't think there's that much of a difference. I think it's one of the most underrated things in baseball, and I think it's why the Astros have had Martin Maldonado in such high regard. That's where Corey Lee's going to have to develop.
Offense.
No, it's not his offense.
And you know what? With the nickname the Machete, yeah, he can still cut people down. I mean, yeah, he can throw guys out. But I think that we've talked about the fact from coach to psychologist is one thing with mound visits and his ability to kind of keep the right frame of mind for the different personalities he has in his rotation. But more so than anything else, it's he controls the entire game from behind the plate. And he's in such control of everything that as a manager, as a fan, you never have to worry. Maldy's got this. He knows the situation, and he knows how to handle things. Mm-hmm. That says a lot about Corey Lee filling shoes because no matter what he does offensively, you can't be Gary Sanchez behind the plate.
Exactly. Now, he is known for defense. Like, he is a good defender. People like his defense. Now, him calling a game is a completely different beast. Like, that's something where I think he can really benefit with a year under Martin Maldonado. But if you were to have just, let's just say each one of those guys, Maldonado, Corey Lee, they both had 130 games. They both had 500 at-bats. I believe that right now Corey Lee would have a better offensive season than Martin Maldonado. I don't think that that's really controversial. I don't really think it's up for debate, quite honestly. But where Maldonado gets the edge is because of how he handles the pitchers and how important that is. Again, I think it's one of the most underrated things in all of baseball. So I'm not pushing for Corey Lee to start over Martin Maldonado. I just think that Corey Lee is going to be, quite honestly, I think Corey Lee is going to be a major league starting catcher in this league for the next 10 years. I really do. And I'm not expecting like Corey Lee to be JT Realmuto. But if he's Sean Murphy, great. Look what Sean Murphy got traded for this season. I think that Corey Lee might have a little more power than Murphy, but maybe not as much average. Coog Blaze is saying, is Justin Durden making the team? It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brantley and Yordan Alvarez.
Brantley's the big deciding factor in all that.
Right.
He's the wild card.
If Brantley does not start the year with the Astros, does not start on the opening day roster, maybe Yordan doesn't either. But I believe that if Yordan and Brantley are both on the opening day roster, then Yainer Diaz and Justin Durden will not start on the opening day roster.
Right.
Now, if one of those guys is on the injured list, let's just assume it's Michael Brantley, I think that Durden's going to make the team. I think it's going to come down to Durden and Yainer Diaz. And I think that the Astros rather go with Durden than Diaz.
It's tough to say that you can, you base a lot off of spring training games, especially for veterans. But if you got a guy that's hitting the ball well and having pop and doing something that right now, quite honestly, from your backup outfield positions especially, you need a little bit more pop. You need a little bit more offense. Guys that can play defense. But if he keeps producing and showing you that he's capable, then you got to give that's got to factor in. And he was the hot bat early on in camp.
He was good last year too.
Plus, you need an outfielder. Like if Brantley doesn't start the year with the team, like you're going to go Yordan Alvarez every single day in left field. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that. Do you want to see some sort of rotation in left field, center field with Jake Myers and Chas McCormick? Like you need a body that can fill that position. Yeah, Mauricio Dubon can fill that position, but I don't want Mauricio Dubon starting many games in the outfield. I think Durden will be on the opening day roster if Brantley does not make it.
And if Brantley,
I think he played a little center, yeah.
It's one thing if you say if Brantley's not playing opening day, but if Brantley is literally put on the injured list because of the fact that it's going to be a while, then absolutely.
I think it's 50-50 right now. I think it's 50-50. And I've even heard that Brantley might just miss like the first week of the season.
I kept saying it before, and I said it even after Dusty said he's going to be fine, and Dana Brown said that I don't expect him, and I don't need to see him in the early season, opening day or otherwise. I need Michael Brantley in October. So if it takes a while to get him there, I know there's clauses and incentives in his contract and all that stuff, but at least short term, let's not get him back and rush him back where he could do some damage. Wait till he's 100%. You'll be fine with Michael Brantley.
The personal issues were something that we didn't know was going to happen, where he was missed probably about a week and a half worth of camp. But
even before that, they were really slow rolling him on the comeback thing.
Sure, but that now all of a sudden became a variable. Now Durden playing center field, McTaggart told us he can. Like McTaggart mentioned
on our air.
He said he mentioned to us Justin Durden could potentially be a center fielder for this team. Somebody else, Coog Blaze asking, not Coog Blaze, where did it go? Oh, Degenerate. Can Hensley play the outfield? I don't know that he can. I know so. In the offseason it was kicked around a bit that they might be able to try him out in left field to see if he could give you some innings in left field. But I don't think we've seen him actually in a spring training game in left. So that kind of hurts his positional flexibility a bit.
And something else to keep an eye on. Dusty said that he should be good for the split squad games tomorrow, but Jake Myers is dealing with a tight hamstring. He's battling.
Discomfort?
Battling a
Gotta
tight
be
hamstring.
discomfort.
They need to shut him down, too. There's no reason to be battling in spring training.
So, but apparently he'll be ready for the split squad tomorrow, but...
That's more chance of Durden making the team. More chance of Durden making the team.
At least one of you liked my tweet that I put out there this weekend.
It wouldn't be me.
Which
I
was
think
that?
it was you, Joel.
What did I like?
That Phil Maton finally appeared.
Oh, I did like that. That was before I remembered how badly you were when you became Stump.
That's right. Phil
With your
Maton.
self-proclaimed
So
nickname.
now all the main starters, bullpen guys besides McCullers, have appeared in spring training.
That's great news. What a great weekend in March.